Hey y'all, it's Amanda, and today we're going to be talking about why January is actually the most important gardening month. Okay, before we jump off, I just have to say that my stock has already germinated from the other day, so if you missed that video, go check it out, but I'm really excited to see that. Okay, January doesn't look productive in the garden. Everything's died back. It's just kind of brown. Do get to see a little bit more wildlife in my opinion, but there's not a whole lot going on. But it might be the most important month of the entire year for a gardener. Not because of what you plant, but because of what you decide. So for me, I feel like January is quiet on purpose. It's quiet in the garden so that you can work inside and plan for the future seasons. This is when you build the foundation of what you're going to be doing throughout the year. And planning now prevents stress later on. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about a few different things. Talking about planning versus planting. We're going to talk about seed inventory. We're going to talk about setting up systems before the chaos hit. We're going to talk about January decisions to make or break your season, what not to do in January, and how this makes the rest of the year easier. So let's dive in. Okay, number one, January is about planning, not planting, although you still can plant in January, especially in my area. But one of the things we want to think about is most of those overwhelming feelings that you feel about your garden throughout the year, they happen because planning and planting overlap. And when planning and planting overlap, for me, that becomes complete chaos. It's just too much for me to handle at one time. Decisions are made under pressure when planning and planting overlap. And when decisions are made under pressure, at least for me, they tend to not be always the best decisions. Lots of them I get right, but there's a lot that I get wrong. It tends to be more expensive because I run into mistakes or overbuying, things along those lines. And so I really like to make sure that my planning and my planting are separate. January allows for clear thinking. It allows for an honest assessment of your garden where you can really look back at the last few seasons and see what was successful and what was not so successful. And January allows for fewer emotional decisions. So when you're in the thick of things in your gardening, I feel like the emotional decisions are way more intense than when you're in the winter and you're taking the time to look out into the future year and seasons. I feel that when planting season starts, everything speeds up. Everything gets super fast. But January is my pause button. It's my opportunity to just do some seed starting and to really kind of look and plan and dream and create a vision for this next year. A couple of things to think about in January is you don't need to plant everything early. So really look at that. Some plants can be planted earlier. Some of them can be planted towards the warmer weather. So they all don't have to be planted at one time. And then you do need to decide what matters most to you. And I've kind of talked about some of those goals. I've talked about them more in depth on Patreon about what's most important for me for this gardening season. Okay, number two, seed inventory. Know what you actually have. So this is kind of a practical step, a simple, easy step. You can work in whatever space you have in front of the television with a cup of coffee, whatever it is that you want to do. But spending time looking through your seed inventory is super important. January is the best time to pull out all of those seed packets, lay them all out, look through them, organize them, see if you have any duplicates, and check all the expiration dates as well. Typically seeds that are more than 3 years old, I don't keep around, but that's up to you. You can keep some if you want. You also takes the opportunity when you lay them all out to notice gaps. Are there gaps in the time of the year where you won't have anything blooming? And then that gives you an opportunity to look for seeds that would fill that gapped area. Seed inventory is not about perfection. This is about avoiding overbuying and avoiding forgetting what you already own. And I am notorious for that as well. So taking the time to spread everything out really cuts back on overspending, really saves on my budget, and gives me a better vision for what I can do that year with seeds. You can't plan realistically if you don't know what's already in your hands. And that's why it's incredibly important to spend the time looking through all your seed packets prior to jumping online. If you're like me, I love seed shopping online. Absolutely love it. But it's so important to go through what you already have prior to pressing, submit for your latest seed order. A couple of quick tips about seed inventory. I like to get all my seed packets out and group them by flowers versus veggies. So I put those into 2 stacks. And then within those 2 stacks, I break it down again. In the flowers, I'll break it down to cool season and warm season flowers. And then veggies, I'll break it down into cool season and warm season veggies. So you end up with 4 different categories. Things to toss or mark. You can toss old seeds. I don't like to keep seeds older than about 3 years, but that's me. You can keep them for longer if you wish. And toss things you no longer want to grow or share them with somebody else. Then if there are a few seeds that you're incredibly excited about growing and they are your priority, put a little star on them, make a mark on them so that packet stands out and you know that that's one that you want to address this season. All right, number 3 on the list is setting systems before the chaos. And when I refer to chaos, I mean planting season. I feel like that's when things start to get super intense in that early spring and then going into the warmer seasons. So what we want to do is systems don't have to be fancy. Systems can be very basic. They don't have to be, ooh, pretty. I mean, one of my favorite systems is just my seed in a container, like the ones that I'm currently working on and thinking about. They're just in a simple container. I've just got them set aside and organized out so that I know that that's the container I need to go to when I'm looking at the next seeds to start. Your systems, they just need to exist before you're busy. So taking the time during this off time of year, during the winter, setting up a few systems for yourself for organization purposes will make your next growing season so much easier. A couple of examples, creating a place for your seed packets, however you decide that you want to organize them. I do have a whole thing where I organize them in these, although I have been finding that I am moving away from this and moving more to just bins, small little bins like you saw the smaller container, and just working with that. So basically having some kind of system for your seed package storage. Plant tags, any plant tags that you plan on keeping, I like to staple them within my planner or like have a little zip pouch that I keep all my plant tags in. I think that that's really helpful in case I need to refer back to them at a later point. And organizing your notes. A lot of us, I find a lot of gardeners keep everything up here. And that worked really well for me about 10 years ago. But now that I'm hitting a certain age, I cannot remember all the things. So I do most of my writing in a kind of a planner journal situation. And I do a lot of writing because I love the feel of the writing. I like putting stickers in here. I like this idea that my hands are on it, and maybe in years to come, my kids will glance back through this and be like, oh my mom was crazy. She was a bad gardener. But I like to write on planners like this. And if you're interested in this planner, I do have a video and I'll drop that down below all about the planner. However, you don't have to do it this way. I've got some gardening friends who like to work with Post-it notes. I believe it's my friend Lita over on Patreon. She likes to work with Post-it notes. I think it's Lita. Maybe it was Mandy. Crap, I forget. And then you can also do things like work on your phone or your iPad or things like that. Give yourself a place to put all the notes that's not just in your head. Because if you're like me, in those spur of the moment opportunities when you're trying to remember something to do something different, I can't always draw that up in my brain. So having it written down makes it way easier for me to reference it at a later point. A few things to track within your notes. You can track what you started, what plants you started, what seeds you started, what plants and seeds worked, and what didn't work. Very simple tracking. And then if you want to expand on that, you can as well. So systems feel unnecessary when things are calm, but they save you when things are not. So they might feel unnecessary right now in January when there's not a lot of going out in the garden. But if you take that time to put these systems in place prior to the chaos, it's going to make things a lot less stressful once the season hits. All right, number 4, why January decisions make or break the season. January choices are going to affect a lot of things throughout the entire season. They're going to affect how much you are going to plant. They're going to affect how many plants you manage or how many garden projects you're managing. They're going to affect how much you enjoy the garden, which is one of my big goals this year, is to enjoy my garden more. So actually when I'm planning, I'm creating more of a vision as opposed to a hard set in stone steps that I have to complete this year. So I'm creating more of a vision that will evolve over the year, which I think will really help and enjoy my garden more. January is when you decide what gets priority. So vegetables, cut flowers, peace, therapy, whatever it is that you want from your garden. It also is when you decide what gets cut, what plants you're not going to be growing this next year. And I think that's super important. I've been trying to cut back on high maintenance plants. It's really big for me this year. I'm really kind of looking forward to it. And I've noticed a lot of gardening friends are as well. A lot of them are doing less of following the trends of what's popular to grow and start, and really focusing on what works best for their garden. This is also when you decide what stays flexible throughout the year. And for me, it's those larger picture projects that are going to be a little bit more flexible. They are visions that I have, but if they don't happen, I'm not going to feel bad about it. You don't feel the effects of January planning until April or May. And that's when everything is growing and demanding the attention. It all feels manageable in January when you're planning, and if you're doing a lot of planning. And then April and May hits and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Why did I start 1,000 seeds? Because that's what someone did last year. So it's really important to think back to what happened last year. Were you overwhelmed? Did you have too much? What can you cut back on? What can you reduce? So January is a great time to really think that out and really be realistic about the time that you have for your garden. I feel like I'm doing a lot of hand stuff today. All right, number 5, what not to do in January. And I feel like this is super important. Now, a lot of the things I've been doing lately is evaluating what not to do, which I think is very important for myself. A couple of quick things. Don't buy seed just because they are pretty. And it is so tempting to get online and buy all those seeds. And you're like, oh, that's beautiful. Don't buy the seeds just because they're pretty. Buy them because you are going to utilize them and you think they will work in your garden. Don't commit to every idea. You might spend a lot of time envisioning and dreaming up a lot of things. You don't have time for 13 large projects in your garden in 1 year. Don't commit to all the ideas. Come up with several, highlight a few that you like, go in depth with even fewer, and then it allows you the opportunity to pick through those as the year goes on. Don't confuse inspiration with obligation. Just because you have an idea doesn't mean you have to do it in your garden. That idea might spur future ideas and progress within your garden. You can have an idea, you can research the idea, you can plan the idea, but that doesn't mean you have to go forward with the idea in your garden. Inspiration is not obligation. January is for intention, not for impulse. So keep that in mind as you're continuing to work through it. You might be like, oh, I really want to try blah, 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 blah. And that's fine if you really want to try it, but look to see if it actually fits within your needs and wants for your growing season in 2026. Okay, and finally, number 6, how this makes the rest of the year easier. So basically, this one is how we are tying all of those categories together that we just chatted about. When planning is done early, planting feels calm, all right? When you've planned early, planting season comes along and you already know what to do with everything. You already have a place for everything. You already know I'm supposed to plant it this week. The planning has already been done, so the planting is calmer and by far more enjoyable. Decisions are easier and faster to make if you've done the planning ahead of time because you've considered the before and after effects of a lot of different situations. And so I really feel like making some of these decisions makes it easier for me down the path to know what I want to do and how quickly I want to do that. And when planning is done early, you feel less overwhelmed, in my opinion. I do want to point out that I feel like it's key to allow guilt to fade away. If you plan and for some reason you go plan really intensely in January and you're not able to accomplish what you planned, it's okay. Let that guilt slide away, let those plans slide away, and do just what you are able to do. You can respond to the season instead of chasing it. And I feel this to my core as a gardener, because I get in the depth of a season and I feel like I am chasing, like I am running to catch up with what is happening in my garden. So by planning ahead, I found that it makes it easier and easier and easier over time for me to step back and enjoy what's happening instead of like running after it. January gives future you a gift, less stress and more confidence. Super important. January gives me the opportunity to take a breath and to look ahead and be like, I can do a lot of these things. I can totally make this work, which is very, very exciting. Okay. So I know these seem like simple ideas, but for some reason for me, I need to write these things down. I need to hear them said out loud. And that's when they really hit me. A lot of what I'm trying to teach y'all is what I'm also teaching myself. And so going through each of these steps, I hope they help you out as much as I do. Because even for beginner gardeners, seasoned gardeners, wherever you are in your gardening world, having a reset and a reality check on planning for your season is always helpful and always important. Okay, if your garden has ever felt out of control by spring, January is where that story starts to change. Quiet moments matter. Those quiet moments of writing in your journal, of, kicking around on Pinterest, on, doing a little seed shopping along. Those quiet moments make all the difference for your future season. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. A question for you: have you done your seed inventory yet? And if you do seed inventory, how do you go about that? Do you store them in bins like the direction that I'm currently going? Do you catalog them? Do you have a spreadsheet? Are you a handwriter like me and you handwrite everything out? Let me know about your seed inventory. And also, if you're interested, I do have a free PDF of a seed inventory worksheet. It is available on my Patreon community. You can get that for free, even if you are not a paid member of my Patreon community. The link is in the video description below. If you're like me and you are on a gardening journey and you would like to do that with some gardening friends who have lots of information and advice to provide, please join my Patreon community. You can join as a free member and you get a little bit of access to things, or you can be a paid member, which is called the Certified Mad Gardener. Certified Mad Gardeners get access to everything, including lives, exclusive videos, photo sharing, group chats. It's a great way to learn more about your garden and more about other people's gardens. And for my patrons, we do have our first live of the year coming up this Thursday. I'm really excited about it. Let me jump over to our live theme. Our live is January Garden Vision Chat. So we're going to talk about what you all are planning, a garden word for the year, and Q&A and encouragement stuff for this new season coming up. So I'm looking forward to chatting with my Certified Mad Gardener patrons on Thursday evening. All right, you all. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.